Welcome back to Between the Levees. Captain Ty Matheny joins me here on the show again. Soon after he and I recorded with his brother Marcus, he sent me about 20 photos of some memories he's had from his time over the years out there. So, Captain Ty, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back.
First
Good to be
things
back.
first.
Yeah.
First things first. Where did we find you today, and what boat are you on?
I am in Wickliffe area. We're actually building our northbound tow. I'm on the ARDYCE Randall.
How far into this trip are you?
About a week and a half. Wednesday will be 2 weeks. So
Gotcha. And it's what, you're 28 and 28?
yep.
Gotcha. Well, before we get into the pictures and all that, I guess if you want, fill me in on some details that maybe you didn't share on our first meeting about your career, kind of how you got into it. I know you said your dad was in it. Was he in it your whole life?
Yes. Yep. He started in '79, I believe, and I was born in '87. So that's all I ever knew.
Well, how was it growing up with a dad kind of gone for a month at a time? Was it weird or was it just the normal?
It was just the normal for me, you know. Um, it I can still remember knowing when dad was home because I could smell that diesel smell, from his bags and stuff. Whenever he would come home, I could smell it in my house. But yeah, it was just the normal for me. I didn't have any friends that their parents did that or anything, so it was kind of odd for me to see both parents home all the time.
What brought you to the industry? Tell me about getting in, I guess that first job as a deckhand.
Well, um, I'd actually planned to go to college. I was pretty decent at baseball, and up until about a month before I come out here, I had planned to go to college. Um, I missed out on some scholarships because of stupidity. I got into trouble with some alcohol and missed out on some scholarships and tryouts and stuff. So I didn't get to go. So I completely changed my plans and went and caught a boat. Turned 18 May 29th and caught the boat June 5th. So didn't wait long.
Any good stories come to mind from your career out there, from decking all the way up? Anything specific you've been thinking about since we last spoke?
There's, you know, I this is the company that I originally started out with. I left here in '09 and kind of went and worked two or three different places, and a lot of the guys that I started out with here are, of course, captains or engineers or something now. There very few left. The older guys from when I was here. Um, I do still keep in touch with a lot of them, but a lot of the guys like a guy that I decked with my first couple of trips is, he's a captain here now, and I guess there's a couple like that, that did like train me, and of course they're pilots or captains here now. So it's kind of neat to come back and get on the old boats that I started on and stuff like that, and that my dad were on and stuff like that. It's kind of cool to come back here.
Had you worked with or for Michael Forbes before you were steering for him?
Actually, no. Um, I'd heard his name. Just kind of he was kind of one of the senior guys that in the Marine, and he I think he was kind of one of their more trusted captains. That's why they put me with him, was because um, they had thought that there was some guys saying that my dad was like playing favorites and everything with me steering for him, so they put me with Mike, and Mike, like I said before, I don't think at first he had a real good opinion of me, but it didn't take long for him to change it. When he seen that I wasn't what everybody was saying. You know, we we had a really good few trips. I think I rode 3 full trips with Mike. They didn't let me steer long, of course. They, they kind of kicked me out of the nest as soon as they could. But I think I rode 3 trips with Mike, and it was, first week or so was kind of rough, and then after that, it was all fun and games. After that, I mean, that's where I think Brandon said something about that I really knew how to keep things fun. That's Mike's a big part of that. He showed me you didn't have to be miserable out here. You could have fun and still work and everything.
Well, of those pictures you sent me, I know you said some, if not all of these guys have actually been lost to Father Time here. You want to start getting into that?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, there's a gentleman on deck, blue bandana on his head and a Superman t-shirt. This is the first picture of the 21 that you sent me. Tell me about this gentleman.
That's David England. He passed away back in 2015, February 12th, I believe it was, of 2015. David ran mate or lead man for me on and off for 6 years while I was steering, and then up to being a captain. He was, I think one of the first, he was the first mate I had as captain. He, we became best friends. Of course, pretty much that whole crew was, but David was the type that he hugged everybody before he got off the boat. And that trip that he went home and died, we both got off the boat there at Cape Girardeau on February 6th, and we had flu. I think it was type A and strep type B or vice versa. We had flu and the strep, and I got over it in a matter of 3 or 4 days, but he just wasn't getting over it. And that morning, I called him and talked to him probably about 9:30 or so, and he said he was going to lay down and take a nap, but he just wasn't getting over it, and and I told him if he didn't feel good, tomorrow or whatever, he need to get back in the doctor. And then probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock, another friend of ours, Jeff Williams, that was riding with us at the time, called and said that he had talked to somebody in David's family and that David had died. And it took us a little bit to confirm it. It really caught us off guard, because David was, David, healthy as a horse. He drank like a fish and, spoke like he was on fire, but he, we didn't think there'd ever be anything killed David, and the dadgum pneumonia got him, but yeah, David was my one of my pilots on here. I actually worked with David over at TBT. He was really rough, tough guy, but he also, man, he had a heart of gold. He had just got married like I think it was May before that, and he had been with this girl for years and years and years. She was about the only thing that could tame him, but he had just gotten married. They wasn't even married a year when he passed away, and but yeah, he was. That was one of the roughest, losses that I've had out of him. He was, like I said, he was mate and lead man for me, kind of my right hand for 6 years there on and off, and that was a pretty hard one. We went down to Savannah, Tennessee, and buried him. Still go down there to his grave, once in a while. I haven't been there in a little over a year, I guess. But yeah, that was a pretty rough one.
What can you say about his career? Up, I guess, before you met him.
He his experience, you mean? He had 15, 20 years probably. You know, I mean, he had started on the river pretty early. Mostly worked for TVT, I think. Um, and Tennessee River. I mean, he knew the Tennessee River like the back of his hand, you know. And he was just a problem solver, man. If something come up, if we had wild barge in tow or something like that, he could. I mean, he could figure out how to wire it up. You know, it was amazing what he could do with rigging. You know? And hilarious.
Is that the two of you together?
Yep. Yep, that's me. Him while I was steering there. That's
That's him or no?
yeah, that's
Okay.
That was I think that's actually the trip that he passed away. He come in and that's sweat. It's sweat in the perfect shape of a heart, you know. Yeah, you know, I guess just the way his life that could happen to be, you know. Yeah, sweating a perfect heart like that. We thought that was pretty cool.
What does this one mean to you?
That's the flag that the Midland, the motor vessel Midland got after he passed away. Reverend Baldridge come out and you know, Kempton Baldridge, I think you had him on. He come out and did a little presentation with us and stuff, and we got that flag and a little memorial plaque, stuff like that that we had on the Midland up until Ingram took it back, and we had it off there. That's where David spent most of his time, was on the Midland. That's the last boat he rode.
How about these two guys?
That's Larry Gwynn is on the left there, and Randall Ennis. Randy is still living. I think, as a matter of fact, I think he still works every now and then for Emma Marine. Larry just passed away maybe a little over a year ago. He just passed away. I used to call Larry the mouth of the South. He was so loud and everything. You know, everybody on the river knew Larry by his voice and everything. He was captain on the John D. Gary for years. But I met him at Inland. He was the captain on the boat, actually, with the first trip that I started decking over there. Randy, I still see him at home. He still comes to watch this, you know, the kids' basketball games and stuff. He's from around where I live there. So I still keep in contact with him pretty regular. But yeah, Larry passed away a year or two ago. So Randy, I've rode with on and off. I rode with him at Inland, of course, and then went to Excel back in 2019 or 18, 19, I guess it was. And he come over shortly after I did, and a couple times on there. So that's a few of the old timers, you know, that I've been lucky enough to spend time with. You know, Larry showed me, you know, a lot about laying rigging, because I'd come from Arco. We didn't lay a whole lot of rigging, you know. So he showed me quite a bit that first trip about, you know, laying boat rigging and, you know, stationary rigging and stuff.
Well, what do you know of their careers, and do any stories come to mind of things they've shared with you over the years?
Larry talked about, you know, I think he was mostly a lower and Ohio River guy. You know, he talked about all the old Ohio River locks all the time. Randy was one of them old ACBL guys. You know, did a bunch of the coal running, and kind of the guys, you know, the 30, 40 year ACBL guys, you know, like David Greer probably knows him. Um, they Randy was at ACBL up until about 2007 or 8, something like that. I guess I'm not real sure when he come over, but I know he was in Inland when I come up there. So, um, but yeah, that's Randy is he's one of the 30-40 year ACBL guys. Larry actually worked at Arco for a number of years, and I think he kind of left around whenever they first started doing the 6 long thing over here. I don't think he really liked it. Um, I think Larry was captain on the Dan McMillan for a few years, and then Marcus is on there now. I guess the coach Larry rode over here for a few years.
You said Randy's still around? Is he retired or still out there?
I think he's kind of semi-retired. I think he just comes out every now and then just because he gets bored, I'm not 100% sure on that. He was talking about hanging it up here a few months ago when I talked to him on one of my daughter's games. But I don't know if he's still out there or not.
Think he'd be a good one for the show?
Probably so. Yeah, and he's one of those guys you just have to cut him off, really.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite kind of guest, man. Makes it easy for me.
Yeah, he's really good people though, man. Excellent. Really, really nice man, and if there's a river to run, he's run it and knows how to run it. But yeah, Randy was one of the good ones, and Larry, like I say, Larry was one of those that you either liked Larry or you hated Larry. I really liked him. Like I say, there was a lot of people that just thought he was a loudmouth. But he was good people too, and a good pilot. So that's yeah. I was just thinking about Randy. He's kind of a heavy set guy, and he always joked around with Mark Roach about putting in an elevator into that Paul closet. Every time he'd get upstairs, I'm gonna have to hit Mark up about that elevator. He's good people though.
Yeah, hopefully we can line that one up. Next picture, gentleman and possibly his daughter.
Yeah, that's Mark Roach.
Okay.
He that's one of the last pictures he sent me before he passed away last. I guess it's a couple of Novembers ago now. I think it was in 23 or 22 that he passed away. But he's the guy that whenever I went over to Inland Marine, he got me in the wheelhouse, and except for the time that I worked at ACBL and the time that I've been here, he was my boss. The 7-8 years I was at Inland, and then the 3 years I was at Excel, he was the my guy, and you could call him. It was anything from a deckhand that needed something to a major accident, whatever. It was Mark knew what to do, how to do it, and he was just my go-to guy there for a long time. And after he left Excel, me and the guy that I steered, we kept a group chat going, and up until about 3 days before he played, that's the only reason I even knew that he had passed away, is because he quit answering the group chat. We talked every day. He sent memes, funny stuff, all that type of stuff. And, we talk about industry stuff and all that. And after about that third day, I realized, heck, I hadn't heard from Mark, and so I tried to call him. He didn't answer. Messaged him on Facebook. He didn't answer, and it said he hadn't been active in a little while. And so I messaged his wife, and I knew that Mark was sick. And he had cancer, and a few months before that, I kind of got the sense that he was a little sicker than what he was leading on. He was just kind of telling me, oh, it was mild. He was gonna get over it, blah blah blah. But messaged his wife, and I said, I know Mark's been sick. I just hadn't heard from him, just checking in on him, and he was in the ICU then, and she said, that he had pneumonia, but they wasn't out of the woods yet, but he was getting better and all this, and then the next morning at like 7:30, she messaged me and said that he had passed away. That was another one that hit pretty hard, because like I say, he was just pretty much my go-to guy for 10 years there, and he he knew my wife, kids, he knew everything about me, and he was a big Cardinals fan. We talked Cardinals baseball a lot. He had decent tickets to the Cardinals, and when he didn't go, he offered them to me and stuff. And he was just excellent guy. That's that era of inland marine from when I was there from 2009 to 2016 was just you couldn't paint a better company to work for. That's things changed over there. That's why I ended up leaving, because of some of the things that were going on. But and Mark, they let Mark go, but Mark was on his way out also, because he didn't agree with a lot of things that were going on. But yeah, it's those inland marine. Those people were just, like I say, some of the best people. Especially when it comes to family things, things going on and stuff like that. I know, that Kathy Hammond personally let people borrow money, things like that. When they, got in trouble, and there just not many places left. Probably ain't many places left like that. I think Western River still kind of dabbles in some of that family stuff, but there ain't many places left like that.
What do you know about Mark's career prior to you meeting him?
He had worked at Inland for about, I think, prior to me meeting him, about 14 years, I think, at the time. He started in Riverways. He was a harbor pilot. He started there in St. Louis Harbor. He was big up in Riverways there for a while. I think he might have even been in Riverways office there whenever Inland started, doing some stuff for Riverways there. I think that's how he kind of got acquainted with the Marine. But he was, pretty much, everybody in the industry, all trip pilots knew Mark, because Inland used a lot of trip pilots. And, if Mark didn't have work for you, he would call around and try to find you work, things like that. He there towards right before he died, I think he was doing some consulting stuff for Ham Frontier Marine for Tony Ice. The guy that started up his own little operation there on the Illinois River. I think he was doing some consulting stuff there, just basically doing it for free, because Tony, was one of his guys, but yeah, he probably had 25 years in the industry, you know, whenever he passed away. But like I say, I mean, everybody in the industry knew him, you know.
The next images look like some radar shots. There's a couple of them like that. Does that ring any bells?
Um, that looks like turning the point there, Cairo. Um, yeah, that's and ACBL fleet. When you come in with 25, you gotta round the corner there at Cairo from the upper to the low, and then you got to go up below the IC Railroad Bridge and top those 25 loads around to put them into an anchor fleet. You know, you can see there's not much room to do that. I don't know. I don't remember sitting those. I guess either accidentally did or thought something else. But yeah, it's that's just that was just a radar shot that I'd taken. And I think I was actually sending that to the port captain and telling him that we need to do something different there than all that stuff driving, you know.
Roger that. Next one looks like a car accident. Busted up vehicle in a field there.
That's yeah, I actually in 2017 I fell asleep on the way home. That was my rental car. I got off the boat up around I think like 12 or 13, and been up all night on the back watch. Got off the boat like 9 o'clock that morning. Um, got about 10 minutes from the house, and I guess just got relaxed and fell asleep. Ended up breaking my back in 4 places. That was while I worked for ACBL. Yeah, I had to about 3 months off in a you know, a hard cast brace thing. You know, yeah, I still, you know, I mean, to this day, my back is horrible. Yeah, that's just that was just kind of a, you know, maybe a PSA to, you know, make sure you're not tired when you're driving, I guess, because you know, I'm 36 years old and I walk around like a 60-year-old man the majority of the time, you know, because of that. Um, yeah, it's and I had just stopped maybe 10 minutes before that and grabbed a drink and stuff, and like I said, I guess I just got complacent, tired, whatever, and fell asleep. And luckily, there was a state trooper probably 200 yards in front of me when I did it, and I hit an embankment and went flying up and through some trees, and um, yeah, I had spent my 30th birthday and my 10th wedding anniversary in the hospital with a broken back.
Well, glad to see you on this side of it, Cap. It looks like the next bunch of pictures, if not the remainder of them, are with some old mariners. So let us begin going through these gentlemen. Who's this guy?
That's Jackie Henshaw. Jackie was an old Marquette guy. I worked with him at Excel. I worked with him in Inland a little bit too. I posted his son up on the Ohio River, but he he's still working. He works for Tony actually at Ham's Frontier Marine there. He Jackie was just absolutely crazy, you know. He was pure entertainment. We had a blast when Jackie was on the boat, and that was pretty much what he was there for. You know, I mean, he could run a boat. Anything you put in front of him, he could run anything from, you know, a 40 barge tow to I think he ran a 2-piece unit there for a while. And he always says that was the easiest job he ever had. But he was just that guy that had those one-liners, you know. But you know, you may not learn a thing about the river from Jackie, but you learn 100 different things about life from Jackie. You know? You know, he can tell you. He takes a bunch of motorcycle trips. He can tell you where the best chicken gizzards, you know, all across the United States are. You know, and you know where they serve the coldest beer on what parts of the month and all that. You know, yeah, he's liable to get on his motorcycle and just take off for 5-6 days and, you know, not even tell his wife. You know, his his son worked out here a while. I think he ended up getting in trouble. Like I say, I posted him up on the Ohio River. And, but yeah, Jackie was he worked at Excel for a long time until they wanted him to take a toll he didn't think he should take, and Jackie was just the type that, you know, if you did him wrong one time, that was it, you know. And he ran that Paul Clawson for a few years there, and then they wanted him to do something he didn't want to do, and he said, "I'm out, you know, find somebody else to do it." He's been working for Tony since then. I think he's been riding at Kevin Michael. He ran that Cap Tony Ice for a little while, but yeah, I think he's mostly been running that Kevin Michael over there. Yeah, he like I say, I don't know. I'm sure I learned something about the river from him, but you know, mostly learned, you know, one-liners and, you know, and where the best food was across the United States and stuff like that. You know, Jackie's excellent people.
Is that him too?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that was.
And how about
We were.
Go ahead.
We were on the that was taken on the Tom Fraser when we were on that rock run. That was, you know, Jackie had never been down there. He'd never been below mile 55, and you know, we were taking 25 loads down in the Southwest Pass, and you know, of course none of us had ever been down there, but we you know, we just felt our way down there. And that picture you showed was, that was Charlie. That was the old man that posted me up from Memphis to yeah. He posted me up from Memphis to, well, down in Southwest Pass. I rode with him a couple of different times, 2 trips south, and then XL said, you know, hey, this is it. You know, you're either going to do it or you're not, you know. And yeah, that's him as well. Yeah, he didn't have a license, but he hadn't run a boat in like 3 years, and he had run a boat for 50 years before that. So I thought, yeah, yeah, I keep the pilot house, you know, about 68, 69 degrees, and you know, so he was always freezing. But yeah, he that's Harold Newby. That that was born after we had crashed there above Smithland Lock, and he had um, he had run into the bank there and run the lead load up on the bank, and he was so worried about it after he went down and took a shower and everything. You know, he come back up in his robe and his flip flops and stuff there. You know, and I thought that was funny. You know, I snapped that picture of him. He works over at Excel. I think he's still working. I don't know. He was on the Elizabeth Ann over there for Excel Marine. That's another one, Randy. He always had to sit down and take a break after he got to the top of the stairs there. That's Penny Watson. That's a cook I had over there at Excel. Deck as good as any of the deck crew over there. She'd go out and help them face the boat up. Everything, you know, lay rigging. And hell, you'd be downstream and she's liable to come up there and ask you if you wanted her to do that, you know. Really good cook, excellent cook, excellent woman to ride with. She was just like having one of the guys on the boat, you know. And You know, she didn't care what you said, what you did, whatever. She was actually the one that I think I think it was her. I don't remember if it was her or not. She'd gotten wet while she was suiting, had a white shirt on, and Jackie told her she could take first and third place in the wet t-shirt contest.
Any other good stories come to mind of that working with her?
Oh man, I had a lot of good times with her. She was on the boat when we lost power one time, and we ended up having to spin the boat around, top it around, catch on one engine, the 24 barges, but catch it. I've had them out on the barges and everything, and she was just pure entertainment. She wasn't scared. It's basically an abandoned ship situation. And she's out there, you just see her out there giggling with the guys and everything, and she really kept the trip light too. Like I say, would do anything you wanted her to, cook anything. She was excellent cook. Tried to get her hired on over here a couple different times, but I think she was having some medical problems with her sister and stuff, so she never did make it over here.
Well, the next few photos you sent looks like a sunset somewhere on the lower, I'm guessing. It's like a big old ship. A couple of other photos, but we're almost to the end of the pictures you sent. What comes to mind on that one?
That's you can see we got those flat deck barges. That's those rock barges, and that's the first time I met one of those big container ships that were doing about 17 mile an hour and 3 or 4 foot wake and all that. I was just amazed at how big they was. And it looked kind of neat. Against the sunset and all that stuff.
Do you remember what mile board this was?
That was probably down in below Venice, even down below mile 11. It's probably down around Pilot Town, down there around mile 0. That's a lot of times that's where we've seen them was coming in early mornings around Pilot Town and stuff like that.
You mentioned maybe a DUI in high school. You mentioned a car accident on the way home from work. This next picture you sent appears to be Cruchain's Day, and that's a rare photo I don't think you often see. I assume that's for getting on and off that barge.
Yeah, that's that was in the earlier days, when we were sitting in the fleet, we ran to town. That's how desperate we were to go to town and get some Pepsis. We'd do stuff like that, trek a ladder across a frozen river full of drift. And, I was wondering if it was square starboard. But yeah, that's a guy that I watched this and get a kick out of that picture. But, he always told me I needed to delete that. But, that was just we wanted to go to the store pretty bad, and that was about the only way we had, besides firing the boat up, and we wasn't going to do that. So that was what we did.
Any incidents, people falling off of that thing?
No, actually, surprisingly not. After that, I think we walked about 5 miles to the closest store because, actually, I didn't. I just got to the other side there and stopped, and the other guys kept going. They ended up being a crazy night. Got in a van with a guy and rode back from the store with him, and they thought the guy was going to try to kidnap him. It was all kinds of crazy stuff, you know. Yeah, there's been some adventures out here, and like I say, you know, um, to keep employed and you know, to keep other people employed. You know, we'll leave it at that.
Roger that. Couple more photos here. Looks like a couple of guys on a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's he was my relief on the Tom Frazier. Michael Bork's his name. He's actually probably about 4'10" or so, 4'11". And company meetings there one night, I got on the back of his truck with him. And we rode from we was in Paducah there. We rode from Rafferty's over to another restaurant over there to the bar. And strings on there need a break. I wanted to ride on the motorcycle with him, so I rode on the back with him there. Yes, that's me behind him. I'm one probably 275 there, or 280. And you know, like I say, he's 4'10", 4'11", like that. You know, looks about like an elf riding a piss hand's back. But
Anything else to share from that evening? Cutting up with him?
oh man, it was that was a wild night. Yeah. I can't remember what restaurant we went to, but chief engineer Carl Scott, he just passed away recently too. His wife was the bartender there, and we ended up going there, and we had a lot of fun there, and ended up taking a cab back to the motel room, and my steersman and his wife and a couple of other people ended up having to haul me back upstairs. You know, couldn't even get me out of the car. I don't know. It was wild. I used to have a picture where they pushed me upstairs on a luggage cart. I don't know. I probably still got that one somewhere, but yeah, I got one shoe on and hanging off the luggage cart. You know, it's gonna be a crazy night.
So clearly you learned your lesson from drinking in high school, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, in high school, I didn't actually get a DUI. It was our senior trip, and we, you know, of course, everybody does that on their senior trip. But I took a 2-liter Mountain Dew bottle and filled it full of beer, and you know, of course, Mountain Dew don't foam like that. So as I'm turning it up, you know, the teacher walks back and she's like, "What do you got in the bottle?" I was like, "Mountain Dew," you know. She said, "I don't think that's Mountain Dew." She said, "Does it?" And she let me taste it, and I told her no. And she was what I thought. She took it away from me, and we, yeah, and I was suspended from then on.
One last photo here, then we'll do some final touches maybe, but it looks like a sunset on a rock run to me. What's that memory look like for you?
Yeah, that's probably down around Venice, somewhere between Devant down there in Venice. You know, it's big, wide open down there. And, that was one of the first times we took 25 down.
Was David on with you?
No, that was at Excel. David was he was when I worked in the Marine. That was probably about probably early 2020. That was that picture they were taking.
Anything else to share about your career or the industry before we wrap this one up?
No, I don't think so, man. I just, you know, you talked about old timers in the last one there, and I just had a few pictures.
This wire back this way is gone, so whatever.
Thought I'd you know, shout them out a little bit. That's about it.
Well, while we have you on the boat with good signal up there, do you mind showing us around your wheelhouse and maybe what you're looking at out the windows? Show us your steersman. Tell us about him or her, I
Yeah.
guess.
This is we're doing watch change right now. That's the steersman, Logan Gordon. This is the pilot, Bo Benoit. We're building tow here at Cairo right now in their lower anchor fleet.
Where is this tow headed?
To St. Louis.
What do you think about that run, Cairo to St. Louis?
It's not a bad run. It gets monotonous, doing it over and over and over, but it's not a bad run at all. You get a little bit of everything. By the time you get up there northbound, you're done fighting the current, and you're not southbound for long enough for it to really terrorize you or anything. That's a pretty decent run.
Well, I think that'll do it, man. I thank you for coming on again.
All right, man. Appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Have a good trip, man. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
This has been a production of Where You At Studios, LLC.